are many benefits to a lucrative vegetable garden. Who doesn't want a fridge full of produce that they didn't have to pay for? A pantry stocked full of canned jams and pickled veggies right at home? A kitchen packed with cooking essentials like potatoes, onion, garlic, and herbs? If you're thinking about jumping onto the homegrown produce bandwagon, now is the time to get into action. Many cool season vegetables are planted in March and April, including beets, cabbage, collards, chard, carrots, broccoli, endive, cauliflower, lettuce, potatoes, radish, onions, green onions, spinach, and turnips. And what's better, the harvest time for the majority of these is June or sooner. A vegetable garden can be an exciting project to take on, and there are tips you can follow to make your efforts successful. Before we get started, however, be sure to like and subscribe so you can always be in the gardening know-how. One of the more important factors of planting a vegetable garden is the allocation of plants in relation to how much space you have to work with. Just as in landscaping, you will need to leave room for your plants to grow to size, and you'll probably want to leave extra room for you to be able to get between them. Though it may not be a common thought until the time comes, harvesting can be a strenuous activity if you don't have adequate space to do so. So, look to the full-grown sizes of the plants that you're including, and apportion the plots for them accordingly. If you're really struggling with available space, look into methods of vertical gardening, where your plants grow straight upward, similar to a vine, as opposed to outward like a shrub. The KSRA bookstore has several wonderful publications that can assist you with the spacing of your garden, two notable ones being the Vegetable Garden Planting Guide and the more in-depth Kansas Garden Guide booklet. These can be found online, or you can pick them up at the Extension office. Timing of your crops is crucial when it comes to optimizing the use of your vegetable garden, and as such, it is best to approach the planting of your garden with a planting plan, where new crops are cycled in as others are cycled out. This is done because many plants have short enough growth periods that they can be planted twice or more within the year. Many others, then, will take the full season to reach harvest, and there is also the notable difference between cool season crops and warm season crops. Cool season crops are typically grown and harvested in the spring and the fall separately. As the name suggests, warm season crops are then grown throughout the heat of the summer. Having a planting plan, you will be able to accommodate for your plants by knowing the seasons they grow in addition to the length of time that it takes for them to grow. And you will resultantly always have some form of vegetable growing in your garden. Both of the publications mentioned earlier have a graph that will relay the plant-specific information that you will need to devise this. You will also want to pay attention to your soil when planting your vegetable garden. As always, a soil test is the best method of recognizing exactly what amendments you need to optimize plant growth. But there are other factors that you can look to. Incorporating compost into your garden is an excellent way to add organic fertilization and to improve the overall quality of your soil by introducing humus, a substance that converts mineral nutrients and waste into usable forms for the plants. Keeping the pH of your soil in a slightly acidic range of 6.0 to 6.5 will help with the survivability of many of your vegetables, and applying external sources of nitrogen, sulfur, and iron will help with many of the deficiencies incurred by the alkalinity of Southwest Kansas soil. Efficient watering will always be a factor in the success of your garden, for the simple fact that plants will always need water to survive. The exact amount to apply to your garden, however, is going to depend on the type of plants that you have in it. Look to how large the plant is supposed to get. If it is a bigger plant, it also has a bigger root system, and it will therefore need more water to sustain itself. Also take into account the weather the plants are growing in. While more rain will equate to less watering, factors like hot winds will equate to more watering, as this will be rapidly drying out your plants. Even soil composition will play a role in how much you water, as higher clay soils will hold on to water longer. And then there's the matter of general upkeep. Thinning, pruning, weeding, cultivating, staking, and tying are all maintenance tasks that can play a crucial role in the amount of fruit produced by your vegetable garden. Left to their own devices, your plants are likely to start growing in directions you don't want them to, in places you don't want them to, and generally taking on an unkempt disposition, a factor that will significantly hinder your harvest efforts. Look into the growth patterns of your plants. Many will benefit from a light pruning of their branches and will actually produce more fruit if you do so. Many can be trained to grow into a vine that can easily be tied, making your harvest efforts easier. And though it may go without saying, removing weeds from your garden will keep your soil nutrients allocated to the plants that they are supposed to go to. And that should keep you in pretty good shape for the growing season. Other factors that you'll have to take into account include light, make sure they have enough, disease, avoid overwatering, and insect pests, call the extension office. But don't be discouraged if you run into these. Part of being a vegetable gardener is learning what works, what doesn't work, and adapting accordingly. Your kitchen will look like a produce aisle in no time. Until next time, I am Anthony Reardon with the West Plains Extension District, and you have a wonderful day.